All right. So I want to welcome everybody to our coordinated community response meetings. And some people are here for the, oops, I have to say, got it. Some people are attending for the first time. Usually we have somebody who hadn't been here before, so we want to welcome everybody. We meet on the fourth Friday from 11 to 12. We started meeting the second week of COVID for online and dealing with the daily changes during COVID for what services were being provided for our community. So we have continued to meet. We also partner with Bristol Coalitions, which meets on the second Tuesday from 12 to 1:30. It's a hybrid meeting that is you can do on Zoom or in person that Bristol Housing does at the Envision Center. We try to coordinate our programming, etc. With us, sometimes we just network, and a lot of times we're having a program of some kind or another. I'll get there in just a second. Want to, at the beginning of the meeting, say that our Bristol Coalition's next meeting is August 13th at 12. And our next meeting is August 23rd at 11. If anybody has programs that they think that would be of interest to everybody, you can let me know. We try to do ones that are Virginia and Tennessee, or have a Virginia and Tennessee person doing similar programs, share information at the same time. So thank you very much. And with that, I will go ahead and introduce Justin Collins, who's here with Oxford House. And I don't know about y'all, but I've been hearing about Oxford House for the last couple of years, and knew that, first off, everybody is aware we have shortage of housing, particularly affordable housing. Oxford House is special, and they have presence in Johnson City and Kingsport that's pretty strong. And then Bristol, they just recently opened a house for men. And now, just in the past couple of weeks, Justin will tell us, they've opened a house for women as well. So I'm very anxious to hear what how the program works and what's happening here in Bristol, and if there's plans for other, etc. So have your questions, you can put them in the chat. Or when he's done, we can ask him questions as well. So, and if you put it in chat and I missed it, be sure that you ask it, because it's hard to monitor the chat as well. So, and maybe Karen and Melissa can help with that too, if they see a question. All right, with that, Justin, I didn't get your bio, but I know you are a director of Oxford House for the Tri-Cities. And again, we are thrilled that you're here and able to talk with us. And we want you to meet us all. When we're done, we'll network. And if you're able to stay, you'll learn a little bit more, but we try to connect with each other and support each other in all the different services that are provided in our community. So with that, do you want to go ahead and share your PowerPoint, and if you want to unmute so we can, there you go.
Yeah, yes, thank you guys for having me here. I'm super excited about this and the resources in the areas, man. Like she said, we just came to Bristol and we're establishing this area and trying to get houses set up in the cities. So I'm working on getting this figured out with the PowerPoint and screen sharing thing, because I tried to email it and it says it was too big. So
Okay.
yeah, this is a little bit more than I kind of expected it to be, but I am super excited about being here, guys. Do we need to get the PowerPoint, figure out how to do the screen share?
Yeah, let's try to do that. So if you go, do you see down at the bottom where it says share screen? Should be in green on your computer down across the bottom.
Yeah, there we go. I had to make it a little bit bigger.
Yeah. So you hit share screen, and then hopefully you might get a choice of which screen to share. And you want to choose the one that has your PowerPoint.
Okay.
And then Karen, Melissa, he has to hit another one again to go ahead and share it.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to do that. Sorry. I should have already done that. I forgot. I said I would do that. Okay. Now try it.
All right.
Apologies.
No worries. Like, I'm still figuring some of this stuff out too.
We're glad to help with your learnings.
Yeah.
I'll let you know when we can see it. I think you have to click on which screen you want to share, and then maybe it says share at the top again.
Okay. So
All right.
I
think
get it.
we see your try finding the PowerPoint. Or is this the PowerPoint? It's a drawing that says H, Oxford House. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
We're ready.
Yeah, you go for it.
All right, so guys, yeah, like she was saying, I work with Oxford House of the Tri-Cities area. My name is Justin Collins, man. I'm super excited about being here and getting in with these resources. Um, so we have houses actually all over the country in 5 different countries, almost every state in America right now. We don't really do houses in Alaska. It's really cold, and we just haven't made it out there yet. So, but we are all over. I work mostly in the Tri-Cities though. So we are a peer-run, self-supporting, substance-free recovery housing. So peer-run means we hold each other accountable. We're democratically ran, and we don't have like house managers and people standing over you and bossism and dictatorship and stuff in our houses. So, this is one of the greatest things I think about the Oxford House is the democratic process that we get to utilize. It teaches you how to stand up and use your voice and have your own say-so in things and how to stand on your own, and have your own opinions. Because when I came into recovery, and I came into Oxford House, like I didn't know what direction I was going. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what way to go with anything. I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't speak for myself. I wallowed in self-pity and doubt. And Oxford has helped me get through a lot of that. And then self-supporting and finding would be like financially stable, and we support ourselves and pay our own way. Like we pay our own bills. We manage our own things and manage our own work our own houses. And substance free is zero tolerance for drugs and alcohol at any times. A lot of places will give you 2 and 3 strikes or a write up or something like that. Here it's just zero tolerance. Okay. And next, this is Marty Walker. He is one of the OGs kind of Oxford House. He's got 26 years in recovery, and he's a really great speaker. He's going to give an analogy about like kind of the model and the way the concept sort of works a little bit. Oh, wait, I have to go back. There we go.
And yeah, it may not work.
Oxford House is like a boat. And James was telling the story, and it gave me a visual, and it's carried me through ever since. And there's people rowing this boat. It's like one of them racing boats or whatever, maybe a Viking ship, I don't know. But on the side of this boat, it says Oxford House. Oxford, and on each side, not one side, on each side, it says Oxford House in big bold letters, and there's people rowing. And we are like drowning out there in the ocean. We're floundering. We've been out there in this freaking water forever with no hope. And here comes the boat, right? And it drags us in. It's like, all we got to do is say, hey, stop, help. I'll do what it takes. Let me in the freaking boat. And then we get drug in and they dry us off. They give us a sandwich, right? Maybe give us a clean shirt and some socks that don't stink, And then after we're kind of rested up a little bit, it's like there's other people out there in that water. you know, here's an oar. Help us row.
Yeah, that's great. Kind of a great little analogy of the model and the concept of like getting people in, getting people off the streets, get them established and figure out what they're doing with their lives, and man, and start helping out and giving back to the community and helping out the other people trying to get off the streets and give them the same opportunities we've been giving it to. Um, so how Oxford House started would be like, so it started in 1975 in I think Minnesota, Silverdale. But it was a government ran halfway house, right? And they lost their funding. The state come in and was going to shut them down. So the residents and the guys living there went to the owner of the house, and they wanted to continue their sobriety, continuing doing good and supporting each other. So they went to the owner of the house and said, "Can we just take over this rent and keep living here and keep doing what we're doing?" And so that's what they did. And so then they couldn't afford to pay the house managers, the therapists, the cook, and like things that all the other recovery houses all had. And the way it's all used to being ran for such a long time. So they had to come up with their own kind of concept and system of operations. So what they come up with was this right here. We have no in-house paid staff. Absolute no tolerance for drugs and alcohol use again. See that we hold weekly house meetings for discussions to talk about any issues with the house or any problems people are having with the house, behavior issues, things we need to address. We hold those every week, or things we want to buy with the house, or things we want to improve with the house, or things we would like to do. And then if you are expelled from an Oxford house, this is the only type of time limit there is about getting back into an Oxford house. If you're expelled for a relapse, you must establish a solid sobriety before coming back into an Oxford house. That means like a 28-day program or something like that, or getting 30 days back under your belt, or working your program and making moves and effort getting back in. And then the democratic way of operations, which is everything that affects the house and affects the members in the house, is discussed by the house, and they learn to have a vote on it. All right, and then next we like from then to now, as I was saying, in 1975 is when the first house opened, and those guys were killing it, man. They were doing so good. Within just 6 months, they'd built their account up, they'd built their money up, and they got the bright idea of like, instead of, you know, I mean, we got the house with 6 beds, let's turn that into 12 beds. And in a matter of 6 months, they were able to open a second house and give that opportunity to double the amount of people to get off the streets. And as of today, these numbers are from the end of 2023. We haven't got the ones from 2024 yet, but it says as of today, we are actually at 3,800 houses in the country and over 32,000 beds in the country. And where we're at. So the rules in an Oxford house, there always has to be some kind of set of guidelines and rules and things like that. We try to keep them to a minimum as best we can, and not try to enforce a bunch of different things on people. So, but there still nevertheless has to be some kind of rules. And the three main rules that every house has to go by, no matter where you're at, whatever country, whatever state, this is for the charter conditions to get through Oxford House. So the house must be run on a democratic basis. You have to have that democratic process. Okay. And then number two is you must be financially self-supporting. You have to be able to pay your bills and hold your own house up. And then three is that any residents who drinks or uses alcohol must be immediately expelled. And I don't know about you guys. I know I keep having to repeat that, but like I've been in other systems and things before. I've got 3 years, 8 months recovery now, but I've went through probation and never could complete it before, getting strikes and this and that. And I would only do it long enough till I could get like I was coming up on that third strike, and then they'd never see me again. Or I'd been in a halfway house before, and they would be like, "Oh, well, it's okay. Just pay your rent. It's a this and that. Oh, we're not gonna kick you out for this." And I was dirty the whole time I was in there. It never worked for me by having extra strikes and not, and going that way. So there are still other rules in Oxford House, of course, but they kind of establish and evolve over the time of the membership. Like in the Tri-Cities here, they have come up with a certain set of standards and guidelines and expectations, is what we call them, as in like curfews and overnights and things like that, or ways to do things, or like say you're not doing your dishes and cleaning up after yourself, well then you get a fine for that. Those are things that develop with the membership of the house. They're the ones that live in the house and are closest to the situation, so we'd be able to like, I mean, develop that as they go. And so I think this would be another one with Marty Walker talking about kind of the process and the system of operations in it and the model we kind of go by. It's actually with some ducks.
Ducks are stupid looking creatures. They just are. And we got some stupid looking ones in Slidell, Louisiana. Big, they got I don't know. Whoever designed those, man, I don't know if that was a rough draft or not, but the ducks, they're designed that way for a reason. The ducks, if they fly in formation, they can fly 7 times farther. And there's a reason for that. And we see them all the time. They fly in formation. It's a V formation. And you've got a lead duck. You see it, you know, they're in a V up there, making a bunch of honking. Do you know why they're honking? It is because they're honking at the lead duck to motivate them. That's what they're honking for. They're making that noise. It's like, they're not saying, oh, you dumbass, where are you taking us? You know, what they're saying is go, because the lead duck is cutting the air for everybody. That's their job. They're not running nothing, but they have a job. Everybody in that formation has a job. Now, that's really powerful stuff. You're in a formation, but you got to do a little bit of work. One of the things is the president or the leader is cutting the wind for everybody else. Everybody else's job is to motivate them, get behind them, and support them. And then you can only cut the air for so long, and it's very tiring. You're out there in the front, so you have to fall back. It's an automatic thing. You fall back, and somebody else whips right in. It's just natural. And now your job is to motivate them like they did you. And then the tireder you get, the farther back you fall. And then in the back of the formation, you can draft. If you're like exhausted, you can just hang out in the back and you'll be It's called drafting. Or the formation will actually pull you, you know, when the air comes in. And so by doing that and just rotating throughout the formation, that formation together can go 7 times farther, right? Also, if one duck falls from the formation, 2 ducks will follow it. They don't leave each other. They'll follow it all the way to the ground in the hopes that it will get better and fly, at least land soft. But they don't leave. Once you're part of the formation, you're part of the formation. That fits so well with us. You know, leadership is shared. We have to, because Paul wrote it in the freaking manual.
Yeah, guys. So like that's a really big thing for coming in here in the Oxford House. Like when I first came in, I didn't know what direction I was doing, didn't know what was going on. I never even done rehab before I came here to Johnson City, and I had no clue how to do a lot of things. I was lost. And this program, if you just give it a chance, will teach you how to, like I said, stand up for yourself, take responsibilities for yourself, hold each other accountable and stuff. And even if like I've went through it all, man, I've got tired, I've had to lay down, I've had to let someone else do things for me for a while, man, and it gets exhausting out here sometimes trying to do things and trying to take on life when you're not used to being able to do it. So this all kind of works really well together. And then like you said, if someone falls from the pack or our brotherhood that we build here, like that we've learned come to know, we always try to get them in help somewhere and try to make sure we pair up and have a little accountability buddy to work things, doing a 12-step call or taking them to a treatment center or trying to get someone else to come in however we need to do it, you know. And if once they're part of our house, like I said, that's a brotherhood in our systems, and we come out with a big network and we're always a phone call away.
Doc.
There we go. And so one way that we are able to do that is he was talking about like the leader duck would be like your president. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that would be the general leadership in running the weekly house meetings in the system. And he also does communications with the houses and the chapters and relaying information and stuff too. So then the treasurer would be, of course, doing the accounts and the bills and the house money more say and stuff. Then the secretary will be recording your meeting minutes, which we call our secretary notes and documents for like our weekly minutes. We call them meeting minutes. He does emails, phone calls, voicemails, and things like that, paperwork, right? And comptroller would be the EES of the house, which is equal expenses shares. Everyone pays an equal expense in equal way of the house, so everyone has the same say so in the house. No one is paying more than anyone else to try to say that they're doing more, right? And then that's just the comptroller. They do the individual, where the treasurer does the house money, the comptroller does individual people's books and money, and then you have the coordinator of the house, which would be like safetyness and cleanliness of the house. You know, like making sure the house stays up to check, maintenance, safety, and cleanliness. And then these are just little positions in the house, and then you've got chapter level positions and things like that as well. There's also an HSC committee, which would be more like the troubleshooting, helping with opening houses, troubleshooting, helping with houses in trouble, or going and checking on houses and making sure everything's going okay. But if all these positions are each pieces that you need to learn, like taking responsibility and learning things in life, full independence is our goal for people, successful members of society, right? That's what we're trying to get people back to, right? And each one of these positions are positions that you need to learn and know to put together when you live out on your own, right? All these you have to be able to do together when you have your own place. You have to be able to pay your bills, keep your books, pay your rent, you know what I mean? Be able to freaking communicate with the community in the neighborhood, keep your house clean. These are all things you got to know and do. All right, so then this is Johnson City right here for our houses. This is one thing that we have to learn how to do. It took me a long time. I spent a decade out running my lives and other people's in addiction, man, and it took me a long time to figure out what fun even was, how to have fun, what it even was, what I like to even do, you know. So we like to get together a lot and have a unity events and do trainings and eat. There's probably food at every event we go to. Everywhere we go, we like to eat now. Get fat in recovery for sure. Uh, so what Johnson City is working with right here, we just opened up a couple of new houses. I can't see the full numbers, but we have got, I think, 12 men's houses and 8 women's houses in Johnson City. It would be about 102 men's beds and 69 women's beds would be the actual accurate numbers for that. And then so this would be Connor would be the newest house that I just opened before I left Johnson City. We like to make sure our houses are pretty nice and big and in good neighborhoods, because we want to establish them in an area where you've not worried about where you used to trap right down the block or damn dope apartments or something like that. You know, we put them in nicer neighborhoods. We have to look for parking, you know, bus stops for transportation, things like that, and a certain size of the house, because we want our people to feel comfortable and accommodating and welcoming into our houses. We're not going to pile them in on top of each other with, you know, like we used to have to live. Some of us, I guess. We want them to feel comfortable and welcomed in our houses. And so, and this would be us in Kingsport when we got together, and we got a group of guys that's actually a couple outreach workers there, one from Nashville that come to help out of us moving houses and stuff and getting together and getting involved in doing service work for people or just being involved in the community. And we go and move houses as part of it too. We go and set up houses and make sure they have what they're supposed to have for the guys coming in and ready for a new opportunity, you know. And these are the houses in Kingsport. I think I couldn't see the numbers there, but we have 3 men's houses in Kingsport and 2 women's houses in Kingsport right now. We're working on always expanding and opening more, but this is the newest house in Kingsport. Um, it's Oxford House Genuine. One of the cool things that I found about Oxford is, along with, you know, you pay your one weekly rent of EES, which is still cheaper than any one bedroom apartment that I have found in any of these cities here, or any city really. Um, it also comes with, you know, I mean, that comes with the lights, the water, the internet, and things like that, and all your cable and stuff. But it also comes with a lot of cool amenities. It'll come with your cleaning supplies, you know, it'll come with your laundry detergent, your toilet paper, paper towels, things like that, coffee and creamer. Some people get real bougie with that creamer, but you know, it's a house decision. You know what I mean? That's the democratic process and the beautiful part of it. Like that, if the house is built up their account enough, they can make the decisions like that on things that they want to buy for themselves. Like, you know, upgrading your TV for the Super Bowl weekend, like that's an option if you get your house built up and if it's doing good. What I mean? We always make sure to give back though. Part of our model starts with recovery and then there's responsibility for taking responsibility. If you don't have recovery, you don't have anything, right? You're not going to be able to take responsibility. And then once you go for this responsibility, it's replication, it's giving back and helping the next house to give other people the opportunities that we have been given. All right, so then next would be the house in Bristol. This is a new city for us. We opened about 3 months ago up here. And I started this house right here would be the Oxford House in Bristol. I don't know why the slideshows are showing up a little weird, but anyway, so this house is absolutely huge and it's beautiful. It's 42,000 square feet, 8 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. There's a fireplace in every room, 12 beds for men to get off to come into. Yeah, it's great. It's the biggest house probably in the Tri-Cities. Uh, Along with that, we have also just opened 2 weeks ago the women's house here in Johnson City or here in Bristol. Uh, I just say Johnson City, I mean the Tri-Cities. But I used to do Johnson City for like 3 years. But yeah, we got the women's house we opened up a couple weeks ago that holds 8 women here. And I've also got people looking to already try to get us more houses here in Bristol. So we just have to see how it goes and work on expanding. I had one recently just call me yesterday and talk about opening one that's right across the state line. And I'm only contracted for Tennessee, so I was kind of disappointed of having to figure something else out with that. So I just reached out to the Virginia side to see if maybe they could expand up here into Bristol if they're ready. And we're trying to get a foothold in here and establish for them to make it easier and get the whole city. I don't like being told I can only work in a half the city. Like I'm trying to work it all. So yeah, that's Bristol. Another thing, man, like we were talking about is having fun in our recovery. One of the top one right here would be Gatlinburg. We did Roaring Recovery. The Great Gatsby was the theme for it in the 20s. You got people showing up looking like little gangsters and mafia members. It was really a good time and cool. The next one would be Sevierville there, Wilderness at the Smokies. I don't know if you guys know the area or Wilderness at the Smokies at all, but that hotel comes with an indoor water park and an outdoor water park. So we had our convention there and it was an absolute blast. A lot of the people we pretty much had to run a half the hotel at the time. They come with Nerf guns or run around shooting each other. Man, we got tickets to the water park, out riding the rides and freaking floating the lazy river, getting sunburned. Like it was just such a great time. So, and then another thing that was the state stuff. This would be like a world convention is something that it's really surprising that they do. I'm sure we really scare pilots when they know we're coming because imagine getting 200 of us of a background of addiction of drugs and alcohol like we have and putting us on a plane together. The pilots got probably a little nervous. But they flew us all to Seattle together for the whole world convention, the ones that got together, man, and it was a really good time, man. They do scavenger hunts. There's all kinds of things to do out there and events to do for I think a 4 day little stretch of period there. And this is just part of what we were saying. We try to get people involved, trying to get people doing things in the community, man, learning about what's out there for them and learning how to have fun again and having joy back in their lives. And then the annual camping trip that we do here every year in the Tri-Cities is down there. It's called USA Raft. We usually rent out most of the whole campground for the weekend and go down there and camp out, go hiking, see the river, waterfalls. We'll have meetings, do Narcan and training and stuff like that. Different little things, just trying to get together. We ended up cooking a ton of food. I was down there at 6 in the morning frying up the biggest pot of eggs I ever freaking seen. So one thing about Oxford House is I don't think any other recovery program or recovery housing can say any of this or claim this. But we've been around for almost 50 years. And for 30 of those years, the DePaul University has been studying us and doing surveys on us and statistics on us about how we've been doing and the impact we have on the community and with everyone. Do you guys want me to slow down? I see some people are writing. Okay. So some of the things that they have found out in the 30 years and the studies they've done is one thing they've done in 2 years. They took 150 people, right? And they split 75 into Oxford House and 75 into other recovery programs. So what they have found out in those 2 years is those in an Oxford House experienced 31% lower substance use over the 64%. All right. That's almost what half of that really right off the bat. And then a higher monthly income of 45%. right? And I have my thoughts on that. We don't know facts on why we have a higher income rate, but in my opinion, it's because we let people make their own choices about what they want to do, where they want to work. Because I know when I went through this program, um, I owed money to 5 different counties. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere from Johnson City all the way to Knoxville. I mean, I had no license, no car, tens of thousands of dollars of court costs, probation fees, and fines and debts. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get the biggest paying job that I could find. I did not get that job. It didn't work out for me, but I got something around in the area, and I started building myself back up. So like we let people have that choice, and then also at the end, so we have the lower incarceration rates of 3% instead of the 9%, and I don't know anybody that's not sick of jails and prisons. Honestly, like that's just the way it is. So I've got to move this over. All right. So after the 2 years, the participants who did not go to an Oxford House after rehab saw almost a 65% relapse rate, right? Those that went to an Oxford House but only stayed less than 6 months only saw a 46% relapse rate. That's almost already 20% knocked off of it if you just come and stay, if it's less than 6 months. And then this last number is truly mind blowing to me. The ones who stayed longer than 6 months only saw a relapse of 15.6%. Like that's an insane number. There is no other place I've ever heard say anything like that. Like I don't know what y'all's experience is really, but like they say the 2%ers, only 2% of people will make it. Or I know other rehabs where they say look to the person to your left, look to the person to your right. Only one of y'all is gonna make it. Like to have a program that says you're gonna save 20%, you know what I mean? We don't like 15%, 20%. Those are unheard of numbers. Like, and it's truly amazing. And the best part about this program is if we watch this video at the end, but he'll talk about the guys in this program look at it like, man, what can we do to save the other 20%? And like, it's truly, it's already an amazing number. And other people are just trying to figure out how to even get 20% to stay. Like, and it's great to me. And that's why I love working for the Oxford House because we're trying to save everybody. There we go. All right, these are a little bit more of the statistics that we come up. I'm not going to go over all these. I'm just going to touch on the bottom ones real quick. Um, so the average length of sobriety is 437 days, and the average length of the stay in an Oxford House is 286 days. I know those numbers are a little bit don't seem to be matching up, but that's because sometimes we will get people from jail, say, that already have 6 months cleans, or I went and picked a guy up from Knoxville a couple months ago who already came in with 4 months clean, so like they already come in with some clean time sometimes, and instead of just their stay in Oxford House. And another thing I want to touch on too is that time limit. There is no amount of time limit for Oxford House. It's when you're ready. When you're ready to move out, when you're ready to take on the world, when you're ready to live independently, that's when you can move out. You know, you can stay as long as you need to get your life in order to where you feel comfortable enough to take on the world. All right, we don't kick out after a year or however long. And we also like one thing that I didn't touch on before is where it says 93 men's houses and that 3 MC, or then right below it that 19 WC. Those are women and children's houses and men and children's houses. We are very family orientated and want to push relationships with our families, man. I had to build relationships with my families back that I never thought I would get back. I wasn't going to family events. I didn't go to Christmas. I was not invited over for no, what are they called? Yeah. Well, I was not invited over to any family functions. I was the guy that like probably wasn't allowed around your kid in family events. You know what I mean? And now, like, I have a great relationship with my family. I go to all of them, the reunions, yeah, family reunions. I go to all the Christmas things, and my mom calls me regularly, and I have a 2-year-old boy that lives with me most of the time. Most of the time he's here with me. Right? This is Yeah, it's just really great. I don't know any other programs that can offer your kids living with you. I know a guy right now. I've watched people get their kids back, build their relationships back with their families, get custody of their kids and have them living with them. And this is what is truly amazing about doing this. And I've watched all this like All right, so this last one is kind of a tribute video for Paul Malloy. He was a CEO and founder of Oxford House. He was one of the guys living in the very first Oxford House, with just the 6 guys in 1975. He actually passed away about 2 years ago. So I don't know how much time we're looking at. It's about a 12-minute video. Am I okay to show this or? Okay, yeah, we're pushed up on time. We'll
Yeah.
we'll finish up with some questions and answers then. Any questions you guys have or anything we need to discuss and talk about or you would like to know?
Okay. So anybody have questions right offhand?
I do. How do you all take referrals, or how does someone get in Oxford House?
Okay, so one of the coolest things I can tell you as far as getting people into an Oxford House is oxfordvacancies.com. All right.
So I understand, or at least I've been told it's around $140 a week to stay at Oxford House. Is that correct?
It all depends which city you want to go to. If you go to Miami, Florida, it's gonna cost more down there than it does here in the Tri-Cities. If you go down, let's say like I said, Miami, Florida, usually the average rent for a house down there, you're gonna look at $200 a week or more, you know.
Okay.
But if you come to the Tri-Cities, it's gonna be anywhere between average about 130 to 150, yeah, a week. Yeah.
Obviously, life happens. What if somebody gets in an Oxford House and then loses their job? How do you all work with stuff like that?
Okay, so they have time to find another job, like they will be given, you know what I mean, ample time to look find another job. There's jobs usually everywhere, especially since COVID and everything happened. Like a lot of people are still not working or jobs need people really bad. So a lot of places are hiring around and like we have houses that most places are in walking distance of jobs or bus stops or someone else is already working in an area or that job and they can work on getting them in a ride. But no, we'll give them time to get another job.
So
Yeah.
that means they don't have to pay rent for a period of time. They get grace or they'll pay that. but no
They
payments.
yeah, they'll just pay it back. Yeah, they won't get expelled for not having a job. We come in and like you'll need 2 weeks really to look for a job and a sponsor, work your recovery program and stuff. And like it's kind of the same thing. If you lose your job, just go out and find another job, right? And then you'll just work on paying your way back out, paying your way out of whatever's accrued. If you've not gotten ahead or whatever, however it is, I don't know. It depends on the situation.
Hey, Justin, I'm Andrea, and I am the resource coordinator with United Way of Bristol. And we have a wonderful program that we can help some of the residents. It's a transportation program in such that, you know, if they work weekends and don't have transportation, then I put my name and phone number in the chat that we can help them with the ride to and from work, or if, you know, particularly during those hours where public transportation doesn't run. And I also want to take a chance to say thanks for your presentation. I can hear the excitement in your voice. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I absolutely love what we do here, guys. I've truly believed in the program and I've seen it work. Like I've watched people come in and learn how to walk again, build relationships back, get their lives back on order, send themselves through school, man. Like it's truly great. Like all kinds of things. But back to I don't know your name, but you ask about how they find out about getting people in. If you go to oxfordvacancies.com, that will bring you into a website where you can apply through there from the pull down tab at the top, or you can go to the search bar at the bottom and you can put in the zip code of it and it'll bring up every house in that zip code, or you can just put in Johnson City and it'll bring up every house in Johnson City. And from that list, some people don't understand this. From that list, you'll only see part of it, right? And it'll give you the name of the house and a contact number and stuff for the house and everything. And that's probably, I mean, it should be good numbers and kept up to date. But if you'll turn the phone or whatever you're working on, most of the time it's people working on a phone, you'll turn it sideways, it'll bring up the whole screen and bring up the whole list of, it'll give you the house number, a personal contact number for the house. It'll give you the meeting times for the house that they do their interviews. And it also gives you the interview times to do it as well. but those, we all know in addiction, those numbers can change for vacancies and stuff. So my best recommendation is to find the area you want to go to or the house you want to go to and start calling them and trying to set up interviews and times. Because like in newer houses, we do interviews more frequently than houses that are already running on full capacity. They might only have one or two vacancies. So we have scheduled meetings, and that once a week meeting time, you know what I mean, it's usually when we do interviews because we're democratically ran and we need to get everyone together to be able to do an interview to talk to these people because it's everyone's choice and having a say so in it and getting people voted in.
So Justin, when do you, in a new house, if you get one person, do they get housing immediately and then you keep adding? Or do you have to wait till you have two or three, or how does that work?
Well, I'm not sure.
When it's a new house that, I mean, do you usually have applicants that are ready to go in? Do you have to wait for a certain number before it functions, or you just start and keep adding to it till it's full?
We just start and keep adding until it's full. We try to get core members in, is the best way to do it. Like say with the house that's got 6, 8, 12 people, whatever, take a couple of your senior members or core members, which would be in any of the houses in any of the cities that are willing to open up and expand, give back and help out, and they would be your starting core members for that house.
Yeah.
And getting it established. They already understand the concept, the model, the way things work in the house and how to do things. So that's your members to get everyone trained up and started in the house. And if we don't have core members, then someone like myself would go in and help get the house open and started and start making moves and accepting people in from whatever rehab centers or other cities or wherever they're trying to call in from.
Okay. Other questions? So for the different roles, is training provided, and is it individual? Is it at the house? How are people trained to perform those different roles that perhaps they hadn't had a lot of experience doing?
I train a lot of people. So if I'm not training them, another thing that we do is the members in the house, like the core members, will train them. Usually a core member means they know all the positions in the books. And usually I try to have people when they're coming into houses, if they don't hold a position, say there's only 6 house positions, but it's a house of 12 people, well, then the people that aren't holding positions should shadow the people that are holding positions, you know, and then the people that are moving into another position and someone is taking that positions, well, then they train the next person.
So does anybody ever come using financial support programs, or is it pretty much expected that when they come in, they're gonna have to be working and be able to come up with the funding immediately? And also, what is that? The groceries and food is separate, so it's just the rent is 130 to 120 to 150, right? So do they come in expected to pay that? Can they come in and then work on getting their job? How does that work?
Yes, we do work with any kind of institutions, like Frontier Health, does grants for their people and things. They've got different grants they work with. Any place that will offer housing grants or assistance or things like that, we will definitely be cool with and taking to help people pay their rent. But if people do not come in with rent and assistance and money, it's obviously a lot cooler and better for them and us if they do come in with that money. That way they're not in the hole. If people come in off the streets or come in with nothing, we totally understand that too, right? And we will still give them a chance and see about working with them. But that's why we have people get a job and start getting a sponsor and making moves within their first couple of weeks. That way they're able to not get too far in debt and get overwhelmed. They can build themselves out of that hole.
Okay.
And then, yes, the food part is separate, but I have found out here in Bristol, there are food banks and resources in a lot of places. We have ended up with a lot of food when we have guys coming in here, but in food is separate. There's lots of resources and help out there to get food though. And everyone qualifies for food stamps coming into recovery housing if you don't have a job.
John Knack, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to introduce myself to Justin. Justin, I work at Creekside Behavioral Health. We're a psych hospital in Kingsport on the Bristol side of Kingsport. We're all in Sullivan County, Bristol and Kingsport. So we take a lot of folks that are homeless. Some of them are uninsured. We do offer a few scholarships. But anyway, what I'm saying is we look for housing for people when they come out of detox. And we look for a program for people that's going to, when they come out of our detox program. And we also look to hire people in recovery that, that are a good fit for Creekside. So, I'd like to partner with you or talk with you sometime, maybe next week, about how we could collaborate a little bit on maybe hiring a few of your folks and finding some homes for people coming out of Creekside.
Absolutely, man. I would love to be able to meet up with you and do that. Another thing about the training too, I'm gonna touch base on both of these right now. I would love to get in touch with you and meet up with you sometime next week, but it will not be Monday or Tuesday because I have trainings both of those days for the areas. We're holding two different training events here in the Tri-Cities to get our people trained on some things.
Right.
Is another way we do train people. And then after that, so Wednesday, Thursday, or later
Yeah.
Friday, I would be able to meet you.
Y'all can get in touch. And also I'll say for everybody, if I haven't sent out the chat with contacts so you can't find it or it just doesn't work, I've got everybody's contact that comes in. So if you need anybody's contact, feel free to check in, email or text, and I can try to provide that. So, what other questions, or I have a couple more. Anybody else have some questions on how things work? What's your goal? Do you have any set goals for like how much to increase housing in here, Kingsport, Johnson City? Do you just go with the flow and try to do it as you see the need? What's the vision or strategic plan for increasing the number of houses?
So Paul Malloy had a goal of 10,000 houses, and I think that is absolutely great. The way to do it and stuff is though, like in the Tri-Cities or different areas, we have to look at the need for it as well. We have to look at the capacity for things. Like if we've got houses that can't keep people in them, then we probably don't need to open another house. It's just going to struggle and have problems, you know. Fortunately, that is not the case yet here in the Tri-Cities. Um, Especially it took a minute for Bristol to get on its feet, figuring out a new city and a new area, and there are some houses that maybe struggle in some things, but we really just have to look at how well we're received in the community, how well the recovery is doing, how well the houses are doing, and then if we keep open beds and vacancies, then don't really need to open a new house. But then we can outgrow a city too, and then if that's the case, then we would just look at another city to open and expand into.
So, you mentioned, so what do y'all do for publicity? Because I have heard people in the neighborhood for the men's, it's a drug house, etc. So people who don't understand. So how do y'all try to do PR and education so that people understand what the program is and that neighborhoods can be supportive rather than critical?
I wish I could give you a better answer to this. The PR department is not something that I am very familiar with. I wish I can refer you to my senior outreach coordinator to work on that and working on getting things. But the best way that we have found to promote is set the example. We get involved in the community. We start helping out, and any of the people that think this is a drug house, just give it a minute, and they're going to see differently. You know, like that's one of the best things that I get told to do to set the standard and set the example. You know what I mean? Show them differently. It might take a little bit of time, but we don't really I don't know about publishing and advertising, but I can send you other links of 60-minute presentations and studies and news things that they've done on Oxford House and things, and like us coming into a community and how it's actually helped the community, and it's not brought anything down from the community like that. You know what I'm saying? We're looking to help get people off the streets and get them to be back in society and starting being active members again. Like it's not, I don't see it hurting the community, you know. As far as the PR part goes, I would have to refer you to someone else.
That sounds good, and certainly seeing is believing, right? That's
Yeah.
usually what people say, but sending some resources could be great for some folks here might want to look at some of those, share it with their other workers and co-workers and board members, etc. So that could be helpful. So what else do y'all have for questions? Cindy?
Yeah, just a quick one. I don't see Justin's contact information in the chat, but I sure want to know it.
Okay.
Justin, this is an amazing program and keep it up.
Cindy, tell him who you are and what you do.
Oh,
And
sure.
and you can
Okay.
put that in the chat. Do you know how to put it in the chat?
So
Yeah.
I have my info in the chat and Justin, you'll put yours in the chat?
I'm putting it in right now, Miss Cindy.
Great. Okay, so I'm Cindy Rocket and I'm with Crossroads Medical Mission, and we are a medical clinic that provides free care to uninsured, generally low income folks in the Tri-Cities. We have a standalone clinic here in Bristol, and we have a mobile clinic that goes to Kingsport, Blumpville, Haven of Rest here in Bristol as well. I'm sure I'm leaving something out, but anyhow, we have a mobile clinic and a standalone, and we do not pass along the our expenses to our patients, trying to give them a hand up as well. And many
Yes,
of them
I definitely
would
need
be
that.
good. Yeah, many of them would be good Oxford House fit, I do believe.
Yes, absolutely. Do you guys, so when you work on medical stuff and
Huh?
things, do you do dental?
No, we don't, but Healing Hands in
That's,
Bristol.
I'd heard about them too. Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. I love it though. Yeah, because when I came in, I didn't have insurance for a year. And then I found out I was having a baby and it was still all a struggle. So yeah, the insurance is great. Yes.
So, anybody else, we're going to be out of time in a minute. Anybody else have a question or want to introduce your services? So that Justin, Justin, do you have your email?
Yes.
Got it. It came through slower. So, anybody else want to introduce themselves or their program so that, we know, and certainly, and we're not going to have time for everybody to share. I work with Appalachian Promise and also Family Promise of Bristol, and Family Promise of Bristol does day services. So this is nice to know that some of our guests and clients might be interested, may already be signing up for your program. So helping to understand that and be able to feel good about referring people would be great. Andy, did you want to say anything?
Hey, thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Justin. Great information. I've heard of Oxford House before, but never the in-depth presentation like you shared. So fantastic. I'm with Centera Health Plans. You mentioned insurance. We are one of the Medicaid managed care organizations contracted by the state of Virginia to help with Medicaid benefits. So if you know of anybody that is in need of Medicaid and they're based in Virginia, just make sure that they get to DSS and apply for benefits. So
All
anyway,
right, cool.
yep,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. And
I had one more question. Upon entry, is a drug test required? Do you have to be coming out of rehab? And also, is Suboxone allowed, or is that not allowed?
We do not discriminate against any MATs, race, religion, sex, gender, any of that. And then a drug test is usually done in a house coming into it. You do not have to be coming from a treatment center.
are they continued on a regular basis? And also, at some point, are there, somebody talked about meetings being required, and is wondering if those are house meetings or some kind of recovery meetings, or what types of things are part of the program?
Recovery meetings, house meetings, it's kind of the things are decided with the house. We want you rework a recovery program, like part of getting a job within your first 2 weeks is a sponsor within the first 2 weeks. And we don't care what program it is. There's dozens out there. There's Smart Recovery, Y12SR, NA, AA, DAA. I could go on and on with the A's. There's all kinds of programs out there. Whatever program suits you, same with religion, race, sex, all that. Whatever works best for you, whatever program you want to work, you are free to work. As long as you are working something to try to have a better life and better yourself and working on progress to being better. Like that's what we want to see. Oh, honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness.
Great. And the same thing for house meetings or whatever the group decides on when those are held and how often and
Yes, we do at least a house meeting every week. There will be a weekly house meeting held for discussion with the houses, to talk about any issues with the house. That's every house you do one at least once a week. But those times are established by the members of the house because they're the ones that live in the house. I can't just show up at a house, and be like, look, y'all's weekly house meeting is going to be Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Well, a lot of people are probably going to be working Wednesday at 12 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to be able to make that. So they try to coordinate with the members of the house to figure out what time they can all get together and talk about things and sit down together. Usually it's on a Sunday most of the time. Will be the day off and people to get to do their house meetings. And then what was the other part of your question? I'm sorry.
I can't even remember. So it was just how often. So that was part of
Oh,
it.
okay. Yeah, they can do meetings more often, but those are like in emergency situations. Like if there's a relapse in a house or things like that, then they will hold an emergency house meeting and then it would all be documented in the minutes too. It would just be an extra meeting for the weekend and it would be an emergency meeting to come together and discuss the situation as a house, whether it's disruptive behavior, theft in the house, or someone in relapse in the house. We get together and we talk about it as a house and decide what way we want to come to a solution.
So sounds like a lot of it is like our workplaces where you find the best meeting time that works for everybody and you try to work through things, et cetera. Some of our workplaces are less democratic than others, but some of them attempt to be democratic, but don't always achieve it. So anyway, okay, anybody else have anything else to ask or say? And that includes sharing anything important that you've got outside of this discussion. Sharon.
No, I just appreciate it. It's always good to learn about different things because you never know when we are facing people that's lost their home to a disaster as to the resources we can have. And right now, we got 30 operations going on in the United States. And if you look out in the Atlantic Ocean, next 2 weeks is going to be busy. So I appreciate y'all allowing me to come and listen in and to soak up the knowledge. So thank you.
So Sharon is with the Mountain Empire Red Cross, and we appreciate what you do and appreciate when you are able to attend, which isn't always. So anyway, suicide prevention coordinator for Virginia Veteran and Family Support. Anyway, lots of resources on here. So Justin and I will get this chat out that'll go out to everybody. We hope you'll come back and attend these meetings so that you can learn and especially when we have time for networking and people can share a little bit more what they do and where that might help you with resources. So
I would absolutely love to, yes.
yeah, and anybody is welcome. Also, anybody in any of the houses, if there's anybody there that wants to learn what resources are available, they're welcome to attend. We're open meetings for anybody to be here. So, okay, with that, we're not quite at 12. So by the time I finish speaking, yes, Justin.
Yeah, I do have one more question. The lady that had talked to me earlier with United Way, I believe.
Yes.
What was she saying? Sorry.
Andrea has a ride program. So
Yes, yeah, it's called Ride United. And we can provide transportation to employees to get them back and forth to work. We encourage public transportation, but sometimes public transportation doesn't always work.
So you can check their website. Also, they can probably check the job access y'all are familiar with too, Andrea, right? If that works as well, which is the city program for Bristol, Tennessee. The other thing that United Way that she didn't mention is they have a bicycle program. So they can help to get people bikes and a lock. And I asked Lisa recently, Andrea, about helmets. I think it's a law in Bristol, Tennessee, or for helmets. So people might need help in a helmet as well. So anyway, that can, depending on where they're working, a bike could be very helpful. So.
Yes.
Justin, I've got you're going to be getting an email from me, so
Okay,
you'll have my
yeah.
contact info.
After I asked the question, I was like, I could have just looked on the emails and called her, I guess. But
No,
yeah,
that's great.
No,
And if,
that's
if people
okay.
want to be faster, email Justin and give your information, share your website, whatever, and follow up with getting back in touch if you want. So anyway, all right. Well, I thank you, Justin, very much. Very interesting. And we know that recovery services are critical in our area. We still have many people who are suffering and many families that are affected, and we still have a lot of work to do in that area. Sometimes some of us who work in other areas forget how much we're ground zero for some of that. It also varies. It's been opioids, which certainly is still huge, fentanyl, but also meth is back into the picture again. So we know that there's a lot of different things that people have their battles with. So appreciate you coming today, appreciate what Oxford House does, appreciate everybody else who works with recovery in different ways. And appreciate y'all being here and everything you do in all the services that you provide. And we will see you again the last week of August. Again, if y'all have a program to suggest, something you've learned about that you didn't know about, let me know. Send an email. We can pursue. We also the attendance is better when we have a good program, but we also may need a little bit of networking time as well. So we thank y'all very much and look forward to seeing you again. And again, Justin, everybody is
absolutely.
very appreciative of your being with us today. So, all right. Take care, and
I'll
we'll
take care.
talk to you soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.